All right, this is Ubaid on behalf of V Electronics, and in this video, we'll be talking about histograms. All right, and the word histogram has to do with bar graphs over interval of time, for example, or over different intervals. All right, so let's see over here. If this is your X and Y axis, okay, if these are your bar graphs over here, let's see, these are your bar graphs. Your histogram will look something like this. Okay, these are continuous boxes. Okay, where the height stands for relative frequency and your x-axis. Okay, this will be your quantitative data. All right, so let's say, for example, if you wanted to figure out the changes in relative frequency of students who get a certain percentage in your class, you may use your histogram to figure that out. Okay, and the way you would do this is you would simply use your x-axis to jot down all the percentages, okay, the percentage interval, so to speak. So let's say between 35% to 60%, from 60 to let's say 80%, from 80, let's say 90%, so on and so forth. Okay, and let's say you knew that 10 out of 30 students in your class got 90%. 10 out of 30 students got 90%. So in this case, we know that 10 represents frequency. So this is your F, and 30, this is your sample size. So number of units in your sample. So in this case, this will be N. And we know that F over N gives you your relative frequency, RF. So now that you have your relative frequency, okay, and you know that your x-axis will be quantitative continuous data. Continuous meaning starts at 35%, goes all the way up to 100, unbroken. Okay, and in this case, your height or y-axis will represent your relative frequency. So over here, let's say you have 3 students. Over here, let's say you have 5 students. Over here, let's say you have, okay, 10 students. Okay, so on and so forth. So you know that 10 out of 30 students got 90%. So over here, 90%, okay, the frequency is 10. All right, so this is basically what a histogram is. Now, some applications relevant to histogram, they include but not limited to. So this would be trying to figure out the center of your data. So try to figure out the mean, median, and mode, for example, or using mean, median, and mode to figure out the central tendency. The skewness, so if there is data that is not symmetrical, right, which means, let's say, for example, if this is your data going up and down, okay, this is, okay, your bar graph over here. All right, notice this is just going in one direction. Okay, or if this is your bar graph, again, this is going in one direction. This is not symmetrical. Okay, or if this is your bar graph going up and down, okay, this is not symmetrical. So when it comes to histograms, or when it comes to graphs in general, if you're trying to figure out the skewness, which is um, basically trying to figure out if the graph is being skewed to the left or to the right, okay? So in this case, for example, if the bar graph is high on the left-hand side, okay, the bar graph is probably being skewed to the right. Okay, if the bar graph is high, on the right-hand side is probably being skewed to the left, sort of like pulling the graph, as a result of which the bar graphs are higher on the right-hand side. Okay, so your histogram may be used to figure out the skewness. It may also be used, okay, to figure out your patient wait times, okay, in a clinical setting. Okay, it may be used in healthcare. It may be used for sales and customer data. It may be used for manufacturing, for quality control, for QC. It may be used to understand variability, so to understand changes in your data. It may be used to assess performance. So let's say you have athletic performance or student performance. You may use your histograms to assess or evaluate, okay, performance in general. And it may be used to compare data in general. Okay, so data comparison is another reason why people use histogram. Okay, so this is basically how your histogram works. Okay, and again, histogram deals with relative frequency of continuous and quantitative data. Okay, your relative frequency being the y-axis and your x-axis being the quantitative continuous data. That would be it for this video. On behalf of We Electronics, this is Ubay. Have yourself a great day.